Hello everyone. International Monetary Fund recently published a report stating that Baltic states in general and Lithuania in particular will be among the most vulnerable European Union countries for recently imposed Russian sanctions on a ban on food imports from European Union countries. So let's have a look what is the situation, what exposure Baltic states have to Russia, and what will be the impact on the GDP and economic growth. So first of all, let's have a look on overall exposure on Russian economy. And as we can see, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia has the highest export share to Russia compared to all other European Union countries. So the biggest exposure is in Lithuania, where close to 1/5 of all exports goes to Russia. Latvia, it's 16% of exports, and Estonia, 11%. So very closely is Finland, also very close neighbor of Baltic states, so 9%, and another neighbor, Poland, 5%. So basically this region is indeed the most vulnerable. However, I would like to stress that looking just at statistics may not reveal the true situation, because if you look, for example, at Lithuania and see where this 20% comes from, we see that the majority of this, 16.9% of GDP, comes not from exports of originally produced products in Lithuania, but from re-exports from other European Union countries. So basically, it's a transit, west-east transit of goods, mainly automobiles, machinery, also fruits, vegetables that are grown in Western Europe, not in Lithuania. If we talk only about exports of products that are produced in Lithuania, the share is a mere 2.9% of GDP. So, and if you can see, over time, this rate has a tendency to decline, contrary to the tendency of re-exports to grow. So basically, this shows that for Lithuanian producers, the impact of Russian sanctions will not be as high as for transport sector, which are very much involved in this re-export. And yes, if we look at only products produced in Lithuania or Lithuanian origin products, we see that Russia, instead of being number 1 export partner, is only number 8, and Germany, Latvia, Estonia, UK, Netherlands, Poland, and Sweden are more important export partners for Lithuanian producers than Russia. So this is just to remind you that should always should look at with some suspicion at national statistics. So if we look particularly at food industry and we look at export shares that goes to Russia, we see again that the Baltic states are among the countries that have the biggest share, even though, if you notice, the shares are not as high as for overall exports. So the highest share is again for Lithuania, which stands at even 29%. But again, excluding re-exports, which constitutes 22%, we are left with only 7% of domestically produced products going to Russia. So actually the exposure is not as high as it may seem just looking at pure statistics. Estonia goes in second place. It has 12% of all exports going to Russia, and Latvia 9.7% of all food exports going to Russia. So the share, as you can see, is one of the highest in the European Union, but it's not as high as many people would tend to think, because 10% is still, yes, significant, but not as significant as to have a major impact on the whole industry. So, and moreover, Lithuania in particular and Baltic states in general are used to temporary restrictions of export to Russia, and that's actually one of the reasons why this ratio of domestically produced products has fallen over the years. So as you can see, this graph shows just a Lithuanian example of domestically produced product exports, so meat, dairy products, and other products to Russia, and dynamics over the past 6 years. And you can see that in 2010 there was a sudden drop in exports because in end of 2009 Russia, together with Kazakhstan and Belarus, joined into customs union, and they introduced stricter requirements, stricter import requirements, and as a result the exports temporarily fell. Then it was a period, pretty calm period, with some minor jumps until the end of last year, when Russia started so-called milk war with Russia, when milk exports were banned altogether for a period of 3 months. So as you can see, this blue area, which denotes dairy exports, have fallen to just 0. Now Russia also is fighting meat war with Lithuania and other EU countries. As you can see, this red area also has reduced significantly. So this basically shows that it's not the first time for our producers, for exporters to Russia, that Russia implements some sanctions, and therefore many companies have Plan B, and they should not be very much affected by these sanctions. Then if you look at Latvia, which sectors are the most vulnerable? Yes, there are some particular sectors. For example, in Latvia, fish exports will have a major blow because of sanctions in Russia. Dairy sector also will get a hit, but overall, as I mentioned, only 9.7% of exports goes to Russia. So overall, Latvian food industry should still be relatively okay. In Estonia, situation is a little bit similar, just that dairy products basically constitute overwhelming majority of all exports. So basically, this is a key sector that is subject to having some of the problems because of a ban to Russia, and again a minor share of fish in industry. But again, 89% of exports of food exports still goes not in Russia, but in other countries. So just to sum up, yes, there will be some effect. If we compare it with GDP, then Estonia has potentially the highest exposure. Food exports to Russia amount to 2.2% of GDP. Then follows Lithuania, it's 0.8% of GDP if taken into consideration local products. If we add also re-exports, then the total amount is 3.2%. But as I mentioned, this only matters to transport sector, not to local producers. And Latvia has only 0.6% of GDP exposure. So this is the maximum that could be possible effect on these countries, because mostly some of those exports, or majority of those exports, will be reoriented in other markets. And effect in millions of euros. Again, Estonia is 390 million, Lithuania 270, Latvia 140. If you include re-exports for Lithuania, then it's a little bit above 1 billion. So yes, Baltic states are exposed. It will be some effect on economic growth, on GDP, but as you can see, it's rather limited. And if there will be no big secondary effects, then all the Baltic states should generate positive GDP growth in spite of recently imposed sanctions on Russia. Thank you.